Hi, my name is Fox Sheffer, and I'm the asset manager for Survivalist 101.
Hi, I'm Gabe Tomlin, and I'm a project manager for Survivalist 101.
Have you ever wondered what would happen if you were on a plane or something, and it crashed in an entirely unfamiliar area? Now, what would you do if you lost your phone or weren't able to call anybody because you didn't know what to do? You've probably never thought about these ideas or what you need to do to survive on your own, but with Survivalist 101 here, we've got you covered. Now, what is Survivalist 101? Survivalist 101 is a gamified way of teaching people how to survive in the wilderness by demonstrating real-world scenarios. Our simulation is a 3D open-world game based in Unity game engine. Certain features include detailed tasks, while still keeping a simple menu system to make our game as immersive as possible. So here's some background information about me. I've been doing NGT for the last 2 years, and I've unfortunately faced some issues with people leaving the team part way through, or somebody getting themselves fired because they didn't do the job they were supposed to. Even though this happened again this year, I feel like overall I was able to redeem myself and be able to do something I love while still keeping things going and never giving up. I just want to say I'm truly thankful to my mentors, judges, and to my project manager, Gabe Tomlin. I'm not sure where Survivalist 101 will be at the end of this, but I can't wait to see what will happen next. So, the origin of Survivalist 101 started when I was talking to one of my friends, and he was camping with a group of his buddies. And what happened was he was hiking up a hill, and something happened, and he tumbled down the hill and completely lost his group, lost all of his supplies, and lost almost everything. Luckily, he was able to send a message through smoke signals and give his position to the rest of the group, and they were able to find him a couple hours later. Now, as soon as I heard this, I was astounded. I was kind of amazed. I didn't know what to say. But after, it made me think of a few scenarios on what might have happened to him if he didn't know about survival or didn't know how to do a bunch of these things that was able to save his life. So, since I used to live up in the Northeast and the idea of like backpacking and hiking was so common, I could definitely see that this may be an issue that may arise again if something unexpected were to happen. So from this, Survivalist 101 was born from the ashes. Unfortunately, our vision of Survivalist 101 was cut short at the beginning, but even though we were able to come out strong in the end, we did have a bunch of issues at the beginning. In the first 3 weeks of the project, our original project manager left the school and quit the team entirely. This was really difficult because the project scope was designed for 4 people since we've decided to make it so big. And working in an online setting 100% of the time did not help because this was completely new to all of us, and the coordination and communication was very difficult. In the later stages of the project, our programmer also left the school and failed to submit any of the code we needed, which knocked us down to 2 members. And without any code, we weren't able to complete the project at a point that we'd like. Unfortunately, due to the timing and overall incidence of the project, we were not able to recruit any new programmers or be able to put in a lot of code for our project that would be able to put us in the right direction. But depending on where this project goes next, that's definitely our top priority. So our target audience is for men from the ages of 19 to 35. From the research that we've done, these types of people are most likely to go hiking or try camping. And we were also thinking about marketing our company or ideas to help organizations like Boy Scouts of America to help teach younger children about the tools of survival. We feel that this is extremely important, especially to younger generations that are growing up. And if they're doing this kind of stuff, they might need to know helpful tricks or tools that they can use to survive. So here are some of our user stories that we made. We wanted to make sure that our game was available to be used for all types of people. So let's take here, for example. User one is an avid camper and family man. So maybe he has intermediate knowledge. He's been with his family, done a bit of camping before, and feels like he knows what he's doing. So he knows that if the situation ever arises where he was stranded or hurt badly alone, they want to make sure that they can make it and help arrives. So we want to make sure that we can do it for all types of people. So user story 2, this guy is more of a hiker trailblazer. So like the dude I was talking about before, this may be a situation that he's been in before. So he knows that this is something that might happen and something he has to be aware of. So he wants to make sure that this program can show him something that he doesn't know and range from an intermediate and beginner and experienced knowledge, so that somebody like him who's more experienced in this kind of field can get everything to going with it. So user story 3 is somebody who might be new to survival and is unsure about a lot of tools and tricks or never really done anything like this. So we want to make sure that we're able to cater to the audience like him or her and be able to provide our product so it's available to cater to all types of audiences. So when we took our survey a little while ago, these were kind of some of the results that we got. The most interesting one at the end was our several demos versus a full game at once. So I think what we want to do in the future is release several different demos with different scenarios and get player feedback before releasing something else. I think this would definitely cater more towards getting player feedback and showing the players that we're interested in their knowledge and be able to help move our game and progress things along better. So our UI design started off small and short simply because we had to cut down on project scope. But what we wanted to do was make sure we could introduce a system where it would teach you about the different types of skills before dropping you into simulation. We were able to get some knowledge beforehand. So here, and some of our marketing strategies were just wanting to make sure that we could make our games different from other types of games. So for example, games like Ark or Minecraft, while they are survival based and do have some realistic world scenarios, they don't focus on survival for the most part. Like a lot of them, well, they do have different artistic ideas and they do work on some parts of it. They kind of split off on their own ideas and kind of work off of that. Like sometimes in Ark, the main focus is dinosaurs, or Minecraft, the main focus is defeating the Ender Dragon. And survival kind of comes as a secondary aspect instead of a primary aspect. And so that's where we want to make sure our game is able to strive and be able to push forward and become the premier survival game for all types of people. So when we decided to market our game through our slideshows and graphs, we wanted to make sure that we were polite to other people and weren't trying to take advantage of them. So we were looking at pricing our game to a lower point while still keeping our game competitive with others. We think we wanted to release a free demo and then slowly introduce a paid point for maybe not $10 to $15 at a point, and then put it up on Steam. So we'd market our game through an online website, word of mouth, and through Steam. Now I'm going to hand it off to Gabe Tomlin.
So this is our product charger. There's a lot of stuff you can see here. Our scope is to make it very immersive and realistic, so you can actually so-called train for what you're going out into the wild and hoping not to experience. Like Fox said, we have a lot of problems in life, like phones, like iPhones, Androids, they break easily. Then what do you do if you're used to like GPS? You can't use that anymore. Because we had to cut back some of our stuff because we lost a lot of people, we had to cut the requirements. For example, we won't have multiplayer. There won't be a scoreboard and stuff like that. And features, as it says here, the features we will definitely have is a basic menu, open world environment, and the intro presentation for background information. What we want is information and coordination system, new open world areas, basic working simulation for different tasks, and a programmer.
So here's our main menu, and it doesn't look the greatest that I've seen, but we wanted to make sure that we could at least pull the game out of the ground and be able to bring it to a certain standpoint at which people could still get the main idea and enjoy. So while the main menu does work right now, it's not to the extent that we would like, and we definitely would like to put in some modifications in the future. Our premier goal is to make our UI design smoother and much more interesting to look at while making sure all of our buttons work properly. We would also like to add more of a complete transition system to make our game look more polished and professional, like a AAA type game. So through building our open world environment, we decided to stick with the tundra, kind of say, or a snow biome area. So here's some pre-game pictures that I have for you guys to look at and just view. So the information and coordination system is to help people understand what kind of scenarios they're taking on and be able to give tips and tricks on surviving the wilderness. And while one will usually not be prepared for these types of things, and while we don't want these things to happen to you, it's better to be prepared than not to be at all. So, for example, let's focus on ways to make a fire. So the information coordination system would talk about different ways, like maybe friction or using sparks or sunlight. So while these are all ideas that you've heard about or maybe seen on some TV show, we want to make sure that we demonstrate it in the most easy comprehensible way possible so people can understand on what we're trying to do. So maybe some here materials you might need, like kindling or dry moss. I know a little list here on things that you might want to have. So as a keynote, fire is one of the most important skills you need to survive, and it's extremely crucial to learn. Like I said, without fire, you won't be able to boil water, cook food, or be able to stay warm. As these three necessities are crucial to survival, we can't stress the importance of knowing how to build and sustain a fire. And after the user is comfortable with the information, then and only then will they be dropped into a specific scenario and they can be able to choose to help with their understanding on different difficulty levels, which we hope to add in the future. So here's some simulations or guide we want to add. And we wanted to list these in order of importance just because some things are more important than others. So like I said at the top, building a fire, drinking safe and clean water, how to build a shelter. These three skills at the top are extremely important so you know how to survive. And some other things like hunting food, how to use a compass, which I think is a very underrated skill, learning the basics of fishing and different weathers and climate, basic first aid and medical tips, animal safety, environmental awareness, and other essential tricks and tools you can use with common items you might have in you. I mean, pocket lint, anything like that. Who knows what you might have on you that can be used to help save your life someday. So while we're in a very basic area, these are some areas that we're thinking of adding in the future. So such as like forest, canyons, deserts. And as people live among different places around the world, we want to make sure that our game is able to cater to different types of audiences and be able to show people how different scenarios might differ or how different environments can go. As these simulations won't be set in stone and how things will happen, we want to make sure that we can educate people to the best of their abilities. So while we were able to pull things out at the end, we did have a lot of challenges while having some successes. We were able to show up to every NGT meeting and incorporate mentors' feedback. And even though half of our teammates quit the project, we were able to recover to the most part and be able to finish our product. We were able to communicate, coordinate, and provide updates throughout the project despite the online environment. And this is probably the biggest one, but we were able to adapt despite the many obstacles and challenges put in our way. Some challenges we definitely had were two of our members leaving us without giving us anything or leaving anything useful behind. Working in an online setting 100% of the time, which is something I believe we're both not that good at. And while we were able to coordinate and communicate with others during the Snaps summit, Some of the mentors we reached out to and industry professionals didn't get back to us, which definitely hurt us without their feedback. So some of our next steps, and some of these are most important, hiring a programmer, which is probably the biggest one, so we can automate the simulations and get things going in the right direction. After, we hope to complete a basic demo so we can submit it out to players for playtesting and then have them give them our feedback. Once we can create a functional simulation, we want to explore possible scenarios that players want next and get their feedback. Thank you for listening to our presentation, and good luck surviving the wastes in Survivalist 101. Thank you.
Thank you.